Hello and welcome to a tutorial on scam protection. My name is Pierre and I will share with you some tips on how to avoid from being scammed. But first, let's start off with a disclaimer that I'm not a security expert. This video is purely informational and it is meant to raise your awareness level. It is up to you to do your own research and implement any security measure you feel is appropriate for yourself. Today we will discuss the following points: phishing emails, phone call scams, credit card theft, and identity theft. A phishing email is a type of spam and is categorized by the fact that it is made to look real as if you had received it from the company it is trying to impersonate. The email message can pretend to be looking out for your interests or make you aware of an impending danger if no action is taken. There are two main ways to determine if an email is real or if it is a phishing email. First, sometimes the grammar used in the email is poor. This is often the case when English is not the primary language of the scammer. Second, web links and email addresses are different than what you would expect to see from the company they are trying to impersonate. In this example, we're talking about Apple, so I would expect to see an email from apple.com and not from a domain called xyz.ru. However, should you decide to investigate what is mentioned in this email, never, ever use the information provided in the email. Don't use the phone number or any of the web links inside the email. You need to refer to your own records or Google to search the support phone number for the company in question. Again, in this example, we're talking about Apple, so you would Google the support phone number for Apple and call them from that. So in this example, I received this email in my Outlook program. So based on the from and the subject, I decide to open the email and see what's inside. So first thing I noticed from this email is the Apple logo, followed by the standard copyright and privacy policy links, which I would expect to see from a company like Apple. And then I quickly glance at the email, which looks good. Unfortunately, I did not purchase anything from Heads Up, so I'm a little concerned. And therefore, like most people, I would probably click on the link here and do what they tell me to do, right? And I believe this is what most people do when they get an email and they think that it looks legit, and this is exactly what they would do. They would click on the I forgot apple.com because they did not purchase anything from Heads Up. Am I right? Is this what most people would do? For those of you who don't have any Apple products, then obviously this email is not for you. So you know it's a phishing email or a scam, and you just delete it. So let's look at this email a little closer and see what we can deduct from it. So in Outlook, when I look at the email, I see that next to the display name, I see the email address. So because this email is supposed to be from Apple, I would expect to see to the right of the @ sign apple.com or something like that, apple.ca if you're in Canada and so forth, right? So because I see chris-cs.uk right there, that tells me that this is not from Apple. So it's a red flag, scam, phishing email, delete it, quick. But then if I look even further, and I see that down here when I hover my mouse over the hyperlink inside the email, that the link itself here does not end with apple.com/. It ends with like van-le.com. Again, another red flag where this is not a valid URL. So again, delete, quick, delete. Below here, I tried to give you a sample, URL that looks legit, that would look legit if it came from Apple, right? It ends with apple.com/ and then whatever after that. And again, another thing that's important here is the HTTP versus HTTPS, right? I use HTTPS in my example, but in the link here, there's no HTTPS, right? The S in HTTPS stands for secure, which means encryption, right? So if I'm going to be redirected to a web page where I will enter my username and password, then that page must require HTTPS in order to secure my information as I enter it. Okay, banks do that. Every website that does that, where you enter username and password, switches to HTTPS. Right? Now, the reason these guys don't do it is because it's very obvious, because they want to capture the information as you enter it. They want to capture your username and password as you enter it. So that's why it's HTTP. So as you can see from this website, from this email, when you look at it, I would not trust this email at all. Okay. Another thing is if you don't have Outlook, but let's say you have a web browser to check, and you look at your emails via a web browser. We'll look at what else here we can do here to show you. So again, and this is Chrome. I'm using Chrome here, and this is a Gmail account. So again, this is the display name from the person I got the email from, and when I hover my mouse over it, it shows me the email address that was used to send this email. Okay, so that's another thing that's very similar to Outlook, where you'll get your information. Okay, so let's say I open this email. All right, so this is the text in the email, and I created a bogus, link here, hyperlink for apple.com. So in the web browser, especially in Chrome, anytime you hover your mouse over a URL or a hyperlink, at the bottom left corner of the screen here, it will show you what that URL link is all about. So in this case here, I'm going to hover the mouse over this and then look down here to see what's going to appear. So you see here, I made a hyperlink for apple.com, but I'm sending you to Wikipedia. So if I click on it, here we are, Wikipedia. Okay, so this is how in a browser, how you can see the email address and how to view the real URLs behind a hyperlink. Okay, so this is the kind of stuff that sums up the how to detect phishing in an email. Phone call scams. Some scammers like the personal touch, and they call you. Again, just like phishing emails, they either tell you this is a proactive phone call or that they detected a problem that can lead to a disaster if you do not address it immediately. When it comes to computer-related vendors, before I get into this topic, please be aware that computer vendors do not monitor your computer and do not by default have access to your computer and its information. Therefore, they cannot detect a problem, and subsequently, they will not initiate a phone call to you. There may be software installed on the computer by the vendor that will monitor the computer and show you pop-up messages that action may be required, like installing a patch. This is quite different than somebody calling you, right? Again, this kind of monitoring or behavior is all done locally on your computer and not initiated by someone remotely. Now, in the past, I've personally received calls from so-called Microsoft and Dell representatives claiming that they detected a problem on my computer. I actually got a call, like it was an 877 number, 2 days ago from a so-called Dell representative as I was preparing for this tutorial. Now, he told me that some critical services on my Dell computer had stopped working and asked if I was aware of that fact. While he was talking, I heard noises in the background as if he was calling from a call center. I guess this adds more credibility to his authenticity of being a Dell employee. I told him that's very nice, but I do not own a Dell computer. There was a short pause and then he hung up. I do own a Dell computer, but he doesn't know that. He guessed it because Dell is a very popular brand and is found in most companies and lots of homes. I also got a call in the past from a so-called Microsoft representatives about a serious Windows bug that would allow hackers to take over my computer. Again, I told them I only use Apple products, and they hung up. So ultimately, all you need to do is tell them that you don't own that brand that they're calling about, and they'll leave you alone. For financial institutions, scammers pretending to work for financial institutions will try to convince you that your online account or software you use on your computer to access your banking information has been breached, or a patch needs to be urgently installed on your computer to prevent your account information or money from being stolen. Again, there's a sense of urgency that is pushed onto you, that you need to act now and do whatever they say. The key here is to stay calm and play along. Tell them that you are not available to work on this issue right now. Thank them for advising you of the issue. Ask them for their name and phone number and employee ID, as you need to make sure they are valid employees. This is the part where you're playing along with them, right? You tell them as if you believe them and you're getting their information. Now, if you're concerned that this call might be legit, just tell them to please disable your account and that you'll deal with it later. Okay? If they insist to address the issue now, Again, repeat the fact that you want them to disable the account, and then you'll work on it later. If they really press you for why can't you not work on this issue right now, you can just tell them that if you're at home, tell them I'm on my way to pick up my kids. Or if you're at work, tell them I'm heading into a meeting, I don't have time to work on this right now. Once you hang up and you want to check to make sure that there is or there isn't a problem, again, you'll use your records to contact the financial institution that they're representing to make sure that if you call their support phone number, they will be aware of any issues that this guy was telling you about if they're real. So that's how you resolve this issue. You call the support directly yourself. Credit card theft is somewhat related to scamming. Since the creation of credit cards, thieves have devised clever ways to steal your credit card information and PIN number. So some tips to protect your credit card information is to shield the keypad when you enter your PIN. Use cash, especially for small amounts. And I suggest that you read up on credit card skimming and learn how to spot skimming devices. There are lots of pictures on the web that shows you what they look like, and I really encourage you to look for them. Any card, not just credit cards, that use an RFID chip can be scanned by a person with an RFID scanner, and all the person has to do is stand next to you for a few seconds. RFID stands for Radio Frequency Identification. The YouTube video will show you how the scanners work. The wiki URL has lots of information about RFID and offers a lot of suggestions on how to protect your wallet from being scanned. Again, I encourage you to read it. Having your identity stolen is not fun. I personally went through this process in 2017. I got a call from a fraud department of a national retailer asking me if I had made a recent purchase in one of their stores. I said no. In my case, someone had made a store brand credit card application, got approved, and started making purchases in my name. Lucky for me, I did not have to pay for anything. But the person from the retail store suggested that I contact the credit bureau agencies and inform them of this incident. Upon contacting both agencies in Canada, they put a note in my file to call me if someone inquires about my credit history before divulging any information. Now, this service will prevent future false credit card applications from being approved, since the credit bureau agencies will not provide my information unless they have my consent to do so. Be aware that this service usually involves paying a monthly fee. The URL links will provide you with more information and include phone numbers of the credit card bureau agencies in Canada and the United States. This concludes the tutorial, and I hope you got something useful out of it. Thank you for watching.